Hello, my name is José Edgar Hernández Cancino Estrada. I'm going to be talking about my proposal for my exchange year, and the city I'm proposing for my studies is Singapore. I'm thinking about going to National University of Singapore because it's one of the best universities in the world. It ranks the 11th place in the global QS university ranking, and it's got a 10th place in engineering and technology and the 24th place for physics and astronomy program. That is what I am really interested in. It also has a beautiful campus, and it's well known because it's high technology. They invest a lot in high technology and new trending technologies. So that really makes me want to go study there because I think I can learn a lot about the new things and the different ways to see things about technology, because it's also cited in one of the most technological cities in the world. What about the geography of Singapore? Singapore is an island. It's uh, it's just below Malaysia and it's really really small. They have a tropical rainforest weather, and it doesn't surprise me because it's just 1 degree above north to the equator, so it's really hot, like, almost all the year, and it's rainy with more than 90 millimeters of rain a year. It has though like although it's small size of roughly 227 square miles, it's got 5.6 or 7 million residents in the last years. It was founded in 1819 by the British, and it became independent in 1965. It has got a incredible growth under the just one generation. In fact, their gross domestic product is 40% higher than that of the USA. The gross domestic product, it's like the sum of the values of all the goods produced by a country. People from Singapore has different backgrounds. Most of the people living in Singapore today, they have a Chinese background, up to 3/4 of the whole population. Then they go to 13.5% coming from Malaysia, 9% coming from India, and roughly most of the rest are coming from Europe. They have European background. The culture of Singapore is really different than that of ours in Mexico and Occidental, the Occident. And they have a crazy love for food that you can find cheap food everywhere, and they really like talking about food, according to people that I heard that they were living there and coming from other places. Another thing that it's really interesting is that they really encourage the academic success of their people, and they value more the academic success and the creativity of the people. So that's both charming and alarming for me because I really have a really good strong work ethic, but I don't know. I don't know if how comfortable I would feel in a place where they don't value creativity, because that's one of the things I feel I lack of. So I really would like to understand more and learn more about it. Another thing that it's really interesting to me is that chewing gum is actually prohibited in the country. You can just not like eat it, but you can't buy it either. You can actually find some signs that they prohibit chewing gum in some places. It's kind of funny because although I don't really like chewing gum, that's something that you wouldn't expect to find here in Mexico or the States. So, and another thing that I heard people talking about, it's that in Singapore, old people is still working. Like you can go to a McDonald's, for example, and you will see people in their 60s or 70s working. And if you came to Mexico, the United States, Britain, or something, you would most likely find teenagers working in that. And they say that this is because the government encourages people to keep working until basically they die to keep them active. Another about natural traces, their territory is flat. They only have one hill, which is 163.6 meters above ground level. So it's pretty flat, and that's something that I like. Normally, I would be more excited of having mountains or something because I've always lived in flat places, but I wouldn't mind that. And almost half of its territory is covered by vegetation, and as I said before, it's just 277 square miles. One interesting thing is that, in fact, they have expanded their territory in the last years, and about 20% of their territory is artificial. What they did, it was excavating dirt, like soil from their country, and dump it into the water, like in the shores, to gain more territory. About the another human traces, in talking about political things here, they have a really strict government and they have practically no corruption. That's why they have had a really growth, economic and financial and growth in the last years. And some people say that Singapore is kind of socialist because most of the properties in the country are government owned. Most of the housing is also owned by the government, and you actually have to apply to get housing, and you can't decide where to live. So that's really different from our capitalist system. And another interesting thing is that to get a car is actually difficult in Singapore because you have to pay lots of taxes and you have to apply to get the permission to have a car. So you won't see much cars around. This is because the government doesn't want like lots of traffic because it's such a small country. So they limit the number of cars they can have in the country. So my plan to go there to Singapore and study. The first thing that I just started doing for this segment, and I plan on keep going and keep doing, is to learn about the culture. I think I'm going to have a really strong cultural shock when I get there because it's just so different. Like they have mixed cultures. Their language is actually English. Most of the people are bilingual, almost all of them, but they speak English, so that's not going to be a bad a problem for me. But still they have a different religion, different backgrounds, and there are like people from everywhere living there. So that's going to be so cool and so different. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I think I should learn a little about the culture before I get there to maximize my possibilities of learning when I'm actually there. You know, and my second the second thing on my list is to keep my GPA as high as possible because there are only two opportunities to get the exchange to that university. So I really want to be in the top of the appliances. The third thing that I have to do is to present an English exam because although I know how to speak in English and I studied in Canada for a year, I don't have any paper proof that I can speak English. So I'm going to need that in order to get accepted at university. So that's an important thing that I really should take the time to do. And the final step is to actually apply to university and through tech, but to get accepted, that's something I really need. And so this is basically Singapore. I really, as I said before, I really think that it's going to be really different. I really have to study about the culture. Um, I have to listen to people, their experiences. I have to read about the cultures of the people that came, where the people of Singapore came. I would really like to know about their religions, about their spirituality, because I think that's uh, I think it's something Asian cultures really value, and it's something I really don't know much about. So I think I should pay attention to that and just keep myself open to new ways of thinking ways and new cultures. And I think it's going to be such a good experience for me, learning experience, and that it might change my view of the world.